Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Community Foundation of Southlake and the Women's Giving Alliance Applicant Information Session. We're going to start with a little background on the Community Foundation of Southlake County. The Community Foundation of Southlake County is dedicated to serving our community through connecting resources and intentional philanthropic giving. Investing in our local nonprofits is vital to helping make a difference in the Southlake community. Over the past 30 years, the Community Foundation has provided more than $10 million in grants and scholarships. Investing in our local nonprofits is vital to helping make a difference in the Southlake community. And this is actually our 30th anniversary year. The Community Foundation of Southlake was established in 1995 by the sale of a portion of the Southlake Community Hospital. A portion of the proceeds from the sale of the hospital were used to establish the Community Foundation. There are more than 800 community foundations in the U.S. and 24 in the state of Florida. And just as a note, Community Foundation is not a private foundation. Each community foundation functions a little bit differently, but with the goal of improving the community in which they serve. Community foundations are tax-exempt, nonprofit, autonomous, non-sectarian, philanthropic institutions supported by the public with key long-term goals of building permanent funds, supporting charities that benefit the community that the foundation serves, and serving as leaders in the community on important issues. The types of grants funds at community foundations are donor advised, field of interest, designated, charitable organization funds, discretionary funds, and scholarships. The Women's Giving Alliance of Southlake is one of those funds. The mission of the Women's Giving Alliance is to inspire women to be strategic philanthropists and to improve the lives of women and children in Southlake County. Each year, WGA invests approximately $10,000 to $35,000 through grant funding to deserving nonprofit organizations making a difference in the lives of women and children in Southlake County. The WGA has invested over $230,000 in Southlake County over the past 10 years. In 2024, the Impact Grant Award recipients were New Beginnings of Central Florida, Thrive Claremont, the Neighborhood Center of Southlake, Family Matters of Central Florida, and Lake Sumter State College. In 2024, the WGA Award recipient was the Neighborhood Center of Southlake, and that brings us to some details on the Impact, which is a foundation grant, and the WGA grant. We're going to be discussing the Impact Grant and the Women's Giving Alliance grant, and I will refer to it as the WGA. These grants will use the online application found at GLM portal. Although the applications are very similar, there are a few differences, and each grant has its own application. You can complete one or both applications if you want to apply for both grants. These grants are not combined as they have been in the past. The focus area for the Impact Grant areas are basic needs, education, health, and wellness. The WGA grant focus is a little different. While the WGA does not have a focus area such as education specifically, etc., program must demonstrate a systemic change to improve how women and children are served in our community, implement creative and innovative solutions to critical needs, have a measurable impact in Southlake County. If your organization is based outside of the Southlake County area, you will need to indicate what percentage of the agency or program benefits residents of the Southlake County Tax District and how long you have been serving the Southlake County community. Grant funding must serve residents of the former Southlake County Tax District, including Claremont, Groveland, Mascot, Mineola, and Montverde. Organizations have the minimum requirements for grants are that the organization be recognized in good standing with the Internal Revenue Service as an organization described in Section 501c3 of the Code or fiscally sponsored by Section 501c3 organization. The organization has an employer identification number. The organization has 3 years of program data available and has an annual operating budget of $3 million or less. Audited financial statements or 990 must be provided for the previous fiscal year. Applicants must be able to collect and report programmatic data, track funding utilization, and report impact of that funding. And we will discuss the reporting requirements for the interim and final reports in a little bit. But we want to make sure that your organization can complete these reports when applying for these grants. This is a competitive grant, and we will be posting the slides and also the guidelines on our website. The timeline and process for the grant. Applications can be submitted April 24th through June 9th at 11:59 p.m., no exceptions. Potential site visits will happen in June, and you will be notified prior to that site visit. So you'll have plenty of time. We just want to take a look at your organization and visit and learn more about it. Committees will review submitted grant applications and attachments based on the following. This is what evaluators will look at. Community needs and project impact, project outcomes and goals, project sustainability, project budget and financial stability, staff capacity, and collaboration. Once they've reviewed the applications, we will be notifying the organizations right around August 1st or so whether or not they have received the award. As I mentioned, these applications are completed online on our application portal. From our website at cfslc.org, you can apply you can access our application portal. From the home page, you can go to Apply, and then on the drop-down menu, you can click Apply for a Grant, and that should bring you to our Apply for a Grant page. And you'll see some more information about the grant requirements, what we do not fund, some resources for grant writing, guidelines, and our timeline. And then from there, you can click on Apply for Grant portal, Apply for Grant, and that brings you to our login page. If you're having any issues accessing this page, check your cookies on the browser if you're having trouble reaching this website. That sometimes has become an issue. And here you will be asked to provide your email address and your password. You can also click on, just as any other site, forgot your password. If you're having any issues with that, please contact Monica at cfslc.org, and it's highlighted just there in that gray box at the bottom. If you need to create a new account because you have never submitted an application before, you would click Create New Account. And this will bring up this page for you. All sections with an asterisk must be completed in order to move on to the next section. And please know that you will need to provide your contact information as well as the information for the CEO or ED of your organization. And do not create a new account if you've previously submitted an application. But please update your account information. Please review that. Once you've created a new account, you'll see your applicant dashboard. You'll see your name, all of your information, and make sure that all the org information is correct. Whether you're new, whether you just created this account, or this is an account you've had previously, please make sure that all the information is correct. You'd be surprised how many times some things are not. Once you've reviewed all of the information, then you can click on Apply at the very top there on the left by the purple arrow there. And that will bring you to this quiz. You can preview the quiz here to see what the questions are. There are only 4 questions, very simple. And then you can start the quiz. Once you've passed the quiz, you will be able to see the applications listed on the page. If you receive a notice stating that you did not meet the criteria, you may submit the application next year. But if you think there was an error, if you accidentally said yes instead of no, or no instead of yes, please contact me and I will look at it. We can have a discussion about it, and I can send you a code that will give you access. Once you have submitted the quiz and it says that your eligibility has been submitted, you can click on Continue, and that will bring you to the application page where you will see all the applications, all the available applications, and you should see the WGA and the impact grant listed here. And on this page, you will see a short summary of the foundation. Once you click on that application, you'll see a summary of the foundation or the WGA and of the grants, including the amount of award, the areas of focus, the timeline, and what is not funded. We suggest that you start by previewing the entire application by clicking Preview button on the bottom left, and you'll be able to see what all the requirements are, what the questions are, to give you a good sense of what this application is about. I don't want somebody to start the application only to realize halfway through that, oh, well, we don't have this information, or our organization doesn't collect this information. So I don't want you to do that and to take time for this application if it's not something that your organization can complete. You will be able to print a PDF of the application by clicking on the question list icon here at the top, so that you can have a hard copy if you like. We've been asked about collaborating on an application, and you can collaborate on an application from your organization's homepage. You will click on the Request tab, then click on Collaboration, and you can invite someone to collaborate on this application with you. They will need to have an account or will be able to create an account. Anyone you invite can review, can edit, or can submit the application, and you have to give them that permission. I would suggest only giving permission to edit and having one designated person that can submit the application. Once that application has been submitted, that can't be changed. So just one person submitting, and other people can either just view it or edit. And you will be able to start, save, and go back to this application as many times as you need prior to submitting. So you can save the application or submit the application. And if you're missing something, or you're missing a question, or you're missing an upload, you will be informed of that before your final submission. Some key takeaways. Focus on community impact. give examples, not just on outputs. So what do I mean by that? So if you are saying you are going to serve 20 families with case management, for example, and you've done this in the past, rather than just say we are going to serve 20 families in this program, maybe highlight how some participants have improved their life circumstances, such as, someone has a new job, or they were able to access health care, or they no longer need some food pantry services because they all are working, or they've been able to find, XYZ number from those 20 were able to find permanent housing. So focus on some of that, not just on the outputs. Use this grant application process to share information about your organization. Don't assume that all evaluators know your nonprofit, programs, or need. Sometimes we think everybody should know our organization, but sometimes they don't, even if you're a larger organization, but especially if you're a smaller one. Make sure to really share the information that you think an evaluator should know about your organization. Answer the questions thoroughly but concisely, and do not feel compelled to maximize the character allowance. If it says 10,000, 5,000 characters allowed, that doesn't mean you have to, write that much. Be concise. Remember, somebody has to review all of these applications. Make it concise. And lastly, we'd like for you to ensure that your nonprofit organization is in compliance with any previous funding requirements from the foundation. And what I mean by that is such as submitting reports on time. Has your interim report been submitted? Was your final report submitted for that previous grant that you received? Were the funds used, or are they being used as intended on your current grant? So that's what will keep you in compliance. And if you have any doubts about that, just contact us. I'm going to talk a little bit about the post-award. So I'm going to assume that you all received the grant, and some of the things that we're going to ask from you are you'll have to complete an interim report after 6 months, and then a final report. Once a year has gone by, then you get, I believe you get 60 or 90 days after your grant award, you will be asked to provide a final report, excuse me. The interim report is really just to provide us with project status. And in the report, what you'll see is, the program dates, the amount you were awarded. You'll let us know what the total was spent as of this report. You'll see the project description, which is what you've provided us. This information will be what you provided during on your application. It should auto-populate here. If the gray areas are not filled in, or if they're not filled in correctly, please let me know. What you will be asked to do is to provide what your project status is. So we are on track with our timeline. We are not on track to meet our goals. We are on track to meet our goals. We are not on track with our timeline. So these are the questions you will just have to let me know, in addition to how much the funds that you've spent. And we will ask you, what challenges have you encountered? Are there any outcomes that you want to provide? And any feedback that you have about the grant process. And that's really important because some of the application, for those of you that have filled it out before, you will see that there have been some changes made, not just to this interim reports, but also to the application and that comes from feedback that we get from you. In the interim report, you will also be asked to upload or to provide links to publicity, photos, anything like that. The final report is similar to the interim report in that the amount awarded will be stated. You will let us know what the total spent as of this report, which I assume would be the full amount, but sometimes it's not. And then you will let us know if were there any deviations from the budget. If so, please, you will just be asked to explain that. We will also ask you how many total people were served in your program, what any success stories are, how did the project impact the target population or community, what specific outcomes or results were achieved, and again, what challenges did you encounter during the project and how did you address them? And this is meant to be different from the interim report, unless those are still ongoing challenges that you're dealing with. Also, were there any collaborations formed because of this project? What plans do you have for sustaining the project or the outcomes after the grant period ends? And are there any other outcomes, data, or comments you would like to provide? In the final report, you will need to upload an accounting of how the grant funds were spent. And that's pretty much it. We've tried to keep these reports I'm not going to say simple, but to requesting some data that we feel is needed and make them all very standard so that everybody is answering the same questions. Some additional info here on creating an account, on our website, direct access on our collaboration video. I know some of you have asked about that. And please do not contact the Fountain Software Company directly with any questions. Please contact Ruth at cfslc.org so that I can provide you with any assistance. Our Impact and WGA grants open April 24th, and they close, as I said, June 9th at 11:59 p.m. I also want to highlight some other grant opportunities. Our small grant opens August 1st, closes the 16th, and that award is up to $5,000. Our Friends of South Lake is currently open, and it will close on August 15th. And that award is up to $2,500, and the focus is on water safety. Any questions? Well, if you do have any additional questions, you please reach out to Laura Ruth at cfslc.org, and we'd be happy to help you. We really are here to provide an assistance with you may have on the grant, like if you're having issues with the website or whatever it may be, just reach out and we're here to help you. And we want to thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to really learning more about your great organizations. Thank you so much.